Michael Jackson is remembered as one of the most gifted performers in history, but behind his most jaw-dropping moments was something few fans ever fully appreciated: engineering. For decades, Jackson worked with inventors, costume designers, illusionists, and visual effects artists to build tricks that looked like they defied the laws of physics. Here's a look at the secrets behind some of his most unforgettable stage moments. When Jackson debuted his signature 45-degree forward lean in the 1988 Smooth Criminal video, audiences were stunned by what appeared to be an impossible feat of balance. The trick did rely on wires during filming, but the touring version of the illusion required real mechanical ingenuity. Jackson partnered with costume designers Michael Bush and Dennis Tompkins to develop a system that let him anchor his body to the stage floor, an innovation significant enough to earn the pair a U.S. patent in 1993 for their method of creating an anti-gravity illusion. The system worked through specially built shoes fitted with ankle straps and heel slots. At a precise moment in the choreography, stage crew would raise metal pegs up through the floor. Performers could then slide a heel back onto a peg, creating a pivot point strong enough to support their body weight as they leaned forward at an angle that should have sent them toppling over. Even with a mechanical assist, executing the move still took real strength, balance, and timing. During his 1996-97 History World Tour, Jackson closed his performance of Thriller with a trick called Spikes. He would be sealed inside a wooden box, which was then pierced by roughly 50 large steel spikes driven straight through it. When the box opened, Jackson had vanished, only to reappear moments later high above the crowd on a crane. The illusion was the work of veteran illusion designer Franz Harary, who collaborated with Jackson for more than 20 years. It relied on carefully engineered blind spots and lighting to disguise a trapdoor exit that dropped Jackson beneath the stage, where he could make his way to the crane for his dramatic reappearance. At the close of his 1992-93 Dangerous World Tour shows, Jackson appeared to blast off from the stadium using a jetpack during Man in the Mirror. Dressed in a full astronaut suit, he seemed to fly effortlessly over the crowd and out through the roof of the venue. In reality, Jackson only wore the suit on stage briefly before descending through a hidden trapdoor and being whisked away from the stadium by car. Meanwhile, a professional stunt pilot named Kenny Gibson, wearing an identical suit, took over. Gibson was an experienced operator of an actual rocket belt and handled the real countdown and liftoff. At Super Bowl XXVI's 1993 halftime show, Jackson pulled off one of the most memorable displays of crowd psychology in entertainment history. Body doubles dressed identically in his black jacket, fedora, and armband created the impression that Jackson had teleported onto the stage, while lighting and screen effects kept the audience's attention elsewhere as the real Jackson was launched up from beneath the stage. Once in position, he stood completely motionless and silent for nearly 90 seconds, holding roughly 100,000 people in the stadium and well over 100 million television viewers in suspense. The moment was designed with show director Vincent Patterson around the idea that delaying a payoff builds more tension than delivering it immediately, and it worked well enough that Jackson became the first halftime performer to increase television ratings during the break. When Jackson unveiled the moonwalk during the Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, Forever TV special on March 25, 1983, he introduced a dance illusion that would go on to reshape pop culture. To viewers at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, he seemed to glide backward while his legs appeared to be walking forward. Although the move is closely associated with Jackson, he didn't invent it. He'd been taught it back in 1981 by soul-trained dancers Cooley Jackson and Derek Cooley Jackson. The trick depends on an unusual shift of body weight. The dancer rises onto the ball with one foot, transferring all their weight onto it, while sliding the other foot backward without lifting it off the floor. Jackson also popularized the sidewalk glide, sometimes called a side slide, which extended the illusion of frictionless movement into horizontal motion across the stage. Rooted in street dance and popping styles from the late 1970s, the move belongs to the broader family of glide techniques. Instead of a pivot, it relies on a heel-to-toe motion. The dancer shifts their full weight onto the toe of one foot and pushes against the floor to generate lateral movement, while the other foot rolls from heel to toe. During the History Tour, Jackson gave Smooth Criminal a high-tech makeover with a segment where he performed in front of a massive backlit screen, seemingly facing off against his own silhouette. A pre-recorded shadow routine mirrored his poses, spins, and footwork perfectly until the shadow suddenly broke character, picked up a weapon, and opened fire while Jackson stood completely still. The seamless synchronization wasn't achieved through motion tracking, but through precise timing. An audio click track fed directly into Jackson's in-ear monitor let him hit every cue in perfect sync with the pre-recorded projection. Jackson's 1991 video for Black or White broke new ground as one of the first mainstream examples of photorealistic video morphing. The visual effects studio Pacific Data Images, PDI, built a sequence using a feature-based image metamorphosis technique developed by researchers Thaddeus Beyer and Sean Neely. Rather than relying on 3D geometry, artists hand-drew alignment curves across key facial features, eyes, nose, mouth, of very different individuals, then used digital warping and cross-dissolving to blend skin, hair, and features smoothly between them. Seen by an estimated 500 million viewers across 27 countries, the sequence had a lasting impact on the visual effects industry and carried a clear message about racial unity. During History Tour performances of You Are Not Alone, Jackson would share an emotionally intense on-stage moment with a fan pulled from the crowd. While the fans' overwhelmed reaction was genuine, the moment itself was arranged in advance. Security staff would identify an enthusiastic, willing fan from the front rows and bring her onto the stage in full view, rather than staging it as a security breach. In his solo tours, Jackson would appear to soar above the audience on a mechanical crane arm during songs like Beat It and Earth Song, stepping onto what looked like a precariously balanced platform. The real safety mechanism was a system of hidden straps built into his jacket, anchoring him to a steel pole, so he could lean out safely without visible wires. The risk was real, though. During a 1999 benefit concert in Munich, the mechanism failed and the platform fell around 27 feet, injuring Jackson's back badly enough to require hospitalization. At stadium shows, sections of the crowd would sometimes faint, cry, or become overwhelmed in unison in response to something as small as a glance or head tilt from Jackson. While it looked almost supernatural, the phenomenon is explained by documented cases of mass psychogenic response combined with physical stress. Hours of anticipation, packed crowds, heat dehydration, and sensory overload prime people for physical reaction that, once triggered, spread through the group. Jackson often left backstage in one outfit and returned in a completely different one in under 15 seconds. The trick relied on costuming work by Michael Bush and Dennis Tompkins, who built jumpsuits with hidden zippers, Velcro fastenings, and elastic seams that let backstage crews strip away outer layers and dress them again almost instantly in the dark. During live performances of Man in the Mirror, Jackson would often drop to his knees in visible tears, appearing overcome by the song's message. While it read as a spontaneous emotional moment, it also served a practical purpose. Genuinely channeling his feelings about humanitarian issues let him express real emotion, while also buying time to recover after demanding choreography. One of the most famous instances came during his 1988 Grammy Award performance. Jackson's 1983 Thriller video featured a now iconic transformation into a werewolf-like creature, achieved through practical special effects by Hollywood artist Rick Baker rather than any digital trickery. After making full plaster casts of Jackson's face, Baker's team built a series of foam latex prosthetic stages. The illusion of the transformation was created using stop-motion replacement photography and cross-dissolves and editing, without animatronics. The 1989 video for Leave Me Alone, directed by Jim Blashfield, used no green screens at all. Instead, it combined photo collage and rotoscoping techniques, built from thousands of individually layered images shot frame by frame on glass sheets over 9 months. This painstaking process produced a memorable image of Jackson floating past caricatures and dancing alongside animated bones. The video's blend of live footage and layered animation earned Jackson a Grammy for Best Music Video. Short form, the teaser for Jackson's 1995 History album involved one of the most expensive and talked about promotional shoots in music history. Filmed in Budapest for around $4 million, it featured Hungarian troops marching before a 32-foot statue of Jackson made of steel and fiberglass. 9 copies of the statue, each weighing around 4,000 pounds, were later placed in cities across Europe, floated down rivers, and lowered by crane into public squares, a deliberate show of strength amid ongoing tabloid scrutiny. The 1995 video for Scream A duet with Janet Jackson became one of the most expensive music videos ever made, with a budget over $7 million. Without using CGI, production designer Tom Foden built large physical sets across